Welcome to this live stream. I am going to be teaching you the why of any word. Some of you may want to know why your name is spelled the way it is, or you may just be wondering about any particular word and why it is spelled the way it is. So I'm going to go over just some random words and discuss the why of it. And if you want to know why a word that you have seen is spelled the way it is so that you can understand and read it better, then you are welcome to put that in the comments. So let's see. Today is Friday, so let's start with that word. First, let me make sure that this is, flipped. Good. So I want to explain why this word is spelled the way it is. What we do is we always determine what the vowels will say first before we go to read a word, because the vowels are the most difficult part to read because they make so many different sounds. So it's important to know what a vowel will say based on where it sits in the word and the letters that surround it, and that is achievable. So we're going to circle the vowels and the vowel teams. So this AY is considered a vowel team. Y is a vowel if it's not the first letter. So if you are wondering why your teacher used to tell you that the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, but they never really told you when Y is a vowel, now you know. Y is a vowel if it's not the first letter of a word or a syllable. So, especially if it's part of a vowel team, then it is considered a vowel. So that's why I circled this AY, because it is part of a vowel team. Two vowels that make one sound is a vowel team. So I'm circling the vowels because if you can read the vowels, you can read the word. To determine what this I is going to say, I can say two different things, I and I. To determine what it will say, you look at the next two letters. This is what I call the tap two rule. You tap the next two letters, 1, 2. If either one of them is another vowel, then the vowel that you are on will say its name or pronounce its long sound. That is indicated by what's called a macron. That little line above the I is called a macron, and that means that that vowel makes its long sound. So because there is a vowel in the next one or two spots, we know that that I is going to make its long sound. I's make a different sound when they're in the middle syllable, but we'll save that for another word. A-Y, when that's together, it says A. A-Y is how you spell the A sound at the end of words like stay, play, or Friday. So I'm going to mark that sound by making a long A sound there at the top. And by the way, if you want to know what a specific word says, how it's pronounced, or why it is spelled the way it is, just drop it in the chat and I will work on that one for you. So we know that this I is going to say I. We know that this A-Y is going to say A. Now what we do is we tap the sounds. We say each sound as we look at it, and we tap each one in order. So f, I, d, A. So even though there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters in that word, there's only 5 sounds. And we always tap the sounds, not the letters. To read with precision, you have to understand that we read sounds, we don't read letters. And you need to understand what letter combinations make one sound to be able to do that. And that's what this AY is doing. So after we have tapped each sound, then you push those sounds together all in one breath like this. Friday. And that's why that word says Friday. Now, what word should we do next? So I'm getting a message that thanks, Susan. Do I have access to a one-on-one teacher? I have an adult reading class that you are welcome to join. We have, it's a group class, but I do give time for individual instruction in there as well. If you want a one-on-one tutor, I do not tutor personally anymore, but I can recommend some, and I can give you that information if you want to email me at april@learnreading.com. All right, so I need another word. Does anybody have any suggestions for another word that we can talk about? It can be your name, or it can be a random word. How about my first name, April? And that's probably not a very good example because my name breaks the rules. Because this A, oh, that's a good one, Susan. Because this A doesn't have a vowel in the next one or two spots. So it should say ah. My name should say April if it followed the typical reading patterns. But I can explain what is happening with this I and why it is saying, no, that's following the rule, April. Whenever you have a vowel L at the end of a word, so if there is a vowel and then the last letter is an L, that's called a vowel final L. When you see that vowel final L, the L forces that vowel before it, whatever vowel it is. It can be A, E, I, O, or U, or Y. But that final L forces that vowel to change to the schwa sound and say ah. So the schwa is the name of a sound, and the sound is ah. Any vowel can change to the schwa sound at specific times. In this instance, if there is a vowel final L, that vowel is going to change to the schwa sound. That's why my name is April versus April. Okay, thanks, Susan. That's a great suggestion. So this word often is actually pronounced often. This T, some people say often, but it's correctly pronounced as often, and this T isn't even supposed to be pronounced at all. I'll just put an X through that. But this O is making the sound that you would expect because that T is there. The next two letters are consonants, which makes that O say its short sound and say ah. This E also has a consonant in the next, well, it does not have a vowel in the next one or two spots. And when that happens, that means that vowel makes it short sound. So that's why this O says ah, and this E says eh. Often, often. There are other words that are often mispronounced. Let's talk about one of those. One of those is library. This word is often mispronounced as library. And that's because R's in words can really trip people up. They are one of the hardest letters to read. R's within words can sometimes get accidentally left out, omitted, or accidentally inserted where they aren't, or accidentally mixed around in the word or switched spots. A lot of people mispronounce this word as library, and they leave out this R right here. And that's just because R is a difficult sound to read. And reading is more about hearing than it is about seeing. So if you're not really hearing that sound, library, if you don't have what's called good phonemic awareness, being aware of those tiny little units of sound, then you're not going to probably notice it in the word, and you will just miss it. You'll mispronounce the word, leaving that R out altogether. This AR, because it has a vowel after it, AR usually says R, but when there's a vowel after it in a multisyllable word, it says air. And then E, Y is at the end of multisyllable words, usually say the long E sound. So if we look, and then this I is breaking the rule. It actually makes the long I sound. So if we dotted each sound and then blended those sounds together, it would look like this. O, I, B, R, air. I'm going to mark that unit as one unit of sound, air. And then this Y is going to be the E sound. And then pushing those sounds together, grabbing that guy, grabbing that R, it sounds like library. Library instead of library. All right, my friends, my allergies are going nuts. I'm going to sign off for a little bit, but I will be back. Thanks for joining me on my live today, everyone. See you next time.